Let's take a nice, good, slow, deep breath in. And really just let that settle through the body very gently, opening everything up. Letting everything soften. Letting everything feel deepening. We're releasing all energies of our day, our week, any thoughts, everything can just drift here in a state of ease now. Let's take another nice gentle breath in. And as you exhale, just feel yourself rather dissolving into the spaciousness here. Feeling boundaries disappear. Becoming fully present here in this moment. Fully present in the here and now. Fully present in this togetherness. And we're going to relax more deeply into this state of union together. Nice, good, deep breath in. And as you exhale, just feel yourself leaning in, fully falling into union here together. Uniting in awareness, already united through our intention. Our intention, as always, to be of service. To be service itself. To ourselves, each other, the collective, and all of the divine presence. Can be no other way. Our choice, our actions here impact all. Now, we very much need to lead into this very slowly. So we will not be in a hurry here to allow everyone the time to feel yourself sinking in. Now, when we say feel yourself, the self that we refer to is the higher self, calling in all of our divine presence, our higher selves, our aspects of being that vibrate at the higher frequency. We, in the small self, can feel ourselves yielding, allowing in that which comes in through the intention to be of service, service in the highest way possible. So we are allowing sinking in that which is the presence here to be, higher self. That which knows its truth. That which is truth itself. Allowing it to sink in here into this togetherness. It is the source of this togetherness itself. Higher presence. Now we are, as we take our time here, allowing, in particular, the mind time to quiet down, to relax its need, its impulse to engage here, to narrate here, to be a participant actively here. It's an understandable impulse. We are allowing it time to recede. For we are very much in service to our beautiful minds. In this experience, everything can participate, but absolutely nothing has the burden of responsibility. Everything in this way can become the divine witness. Let us take another nice, gentle breath in. And a beautiful, deepening breath out. Feeling ourselves settling into a state that feels very detached from the things that we normally hold on to. Tensions, narration, expectations, a sense of orientation in a normal, quote, normal way. It is fine as we allow everything to relax, to feel ourselves feeling a bit disoriented, as we begin to shift internally from the small self to the higher self, collectively. Inherent in this gathering with all participants is a yes. A yes to this intention, a yes to this invitation to be here as higher presence. For higher presence, higher self, divine love, to be here with and through and as each and every one of us, and all of us collectively. There is an inherent yes in our willingness to be here in this moment. Now, we are saying this for everything within us to agree, to feel the participation in that yes. Inherent in this is the yes of things to recede and the yes of things to really potently come in as presence here. We can begin to feel the truth of the I am here in my divine state of being. Please feel these words. I am here in my divine state of being. What is claiming presence here is the divine. It is not the small self leaping up to claim being the divine presence. This is the claim of the divine as the divine. As we do this, as we say this, we claim the divine presence of all that are gathered here. And we create this imprint upon the collective, the availability of this claim. We've spoken previously about working as the constellation of awakening. Constellations have particular qualities. This constellation has the qualities of awakening. It is a brilliant light entering evermore, 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 evermore into the consciousness of the collective, into the consciousness of the collective. That consciousness absorbing, absorbing, absorbing the lower level consciousness that has been here. Do you understand? There is an absorption. There is a claiming evermore, a reclaiming evermore. A claiming by the truth of our being of that which has believed in the not truth of our being. A claiming of a unitive consciousness of the consciousness that has believed it was separate. A consciousness of knowing the divine, claiming the consciousness that denies the divine. Absorbing, absorbing, absorbing. And as it does, it changes the awareness of everything in its path. Behold, we make all things new. Everything is seen and understood and experienced anew. Not by effort, by allowance. Not by effort, but by allowance. This isn't a strategy, this is a surrender. Now, in this vessel's experiences, one of the most powerful, profound, and impactful experiences, many of you know as the soap bubble experience. She has both spoken and written about this repeatedly. Now, in this experience, let us use the analogy of the soap bubble. You might imagine that humanity living in this soap bubble at one time was a part of the grand unified all. It was part of the galaxies after galaxies after galaxies after galaxies, the whole entire universe of being. And when it began to believe that it was separate, when it sunk into fear, which cannot unite, it does not trust, when it sunk into an identity, an orientation into fear, it went from this knowing of itself in this grand, grand togetherness to a teeny tiny sense of aloneness, a tiny sense of separation, a consciousness created in this way of believing identity. And this consciousness begins to create its own world, its own paradigms, its own sets of beliefs, its own way of exploring what it is to be in the belief of being separate from the all. Separation consciousness. Now, we're pointing you here to the understanding of scale, the juxtaposition of a teeny, teeny, tiny consciousness that believes it's separate relative to the scale of the all. Now, understand here, what is happening in the world that this separation consciousness creates is still of source, is still of God, still of love, and it believes that it's not. So everything within this bubble, this separation belief that is solely an idea. It is not a fact. It is simply living and creating and exploring in a separation belief. Therefore, everything that it creates and the ramifications of everything that it creates, it claims again and again and again and again as true in a separation consciousness. But every single thing that it creates and the ramifications of all that it creates is still of God, is still of source, is still the substance of love. But in the human consciousness, we're calling it many, 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 many other things. First and foremost, other from God, other than love. So we ourselves are claiming this, and we are holding the consciousness that perpetuates this through everything. It reverberates through everything. We just continue to claim separation in all that we do and the ramifications of all that we do, and in our own being. And we bequeath this, we perpetuate this, we cultivate this. It is pervasive throughout our human experience. We will say again, remember the scale. It is so infinitesimally small relative to the all of all there is. Now, in the experience that this vessel had, with the soap bubble experience, in which this vessel realizes at a profound and pure level the paradigm of the good and the bad, which is only a paradigm developed in a separation consciousness, a process of labeling, of categorizing good and bad, right and wrong, all of these polarities born in separation consciousness. When this vessel realizes that the way to pierce the soap bubble, this false encasement of this consciousness, that the way is to relax all judgment, all rejection, all idea of other, to allow everything to be equal, accepted, embraced, part of the oneness of all that is. This was the piercing of the soap bubble. And the moment that this vessel reached that mark, that direct alignment with what is actually true, profound, extraordinary, voluminous healing took place, not only for this vessel, but in the collective consciousness because of this vessel's extraordinary perspective. The allowance of the reclaiming of an extraordinary level of the collective consciousness of pain because of her association in allowing the truth to be what claimed all of that pain. What we're pointing you here towards is that this vessel wasn't offering into the source of love, the source of truth. This vessel got out of the way and let the consciousness itself be claimed. The separation consciousness be claimed by the truth, by the higher consciousness, by the source of consciousness itself. And therein, everything was seen anew. All countless iterations of pain, poof, absorbed into higher consciousness. What happened in that moment was the vessel that had held its orientation in separation consciousness was lifted. And the ramifications of all that had been created through that consciousness was also reclaimed. This is what is underway in humanity at this time. You may have the orientation of saying, I release, or I offer, all these various things. And it may be received in the higher consciousness. But understand here what is shifting is that you, small y and a capital Y, all of us are beginning to have the orientation of that which is doing the reclaiming, not the orientation of that which is offering that which will be claimed. Do you understand? This is a reorientation of a profound level. This is the announcing of the higher consciousness, the higher presence, the higher self, divine love. It is the announcing of the I am here. When we say, I am here in and as the love that I am, that means everything. Everything is the love that I am. What is here in this moment, what has ever been thought about what is here in this moment, what will be? I am here in and as the love that I am. This consciousness is claiming its presence, and it is doing so right here in this very moment through each and every one of you. You see, we do not work individually. That's not what's happening in the collective. We are uniting ever more in the wholeness of all that we are. So inherently, we will do this together. This consciousness is able to have this level of reclamation because there is an availability, a capacity now to do things together. To resurrect in togetherness, through togetherness, as togetherness, absorbing, renewing, reclaiming everything in our path. We are here in and as the love that we are, and that includes everything. Everything you have ever judged, right, wrong, good, bad, of God. The judgment itself of God. Everything that you created in your little bubble, your little workshop, as you're there creating again and again and again, the emotions, the pains, the ways to continue cultivating and attaching our identities to these histories, all of it, God. All of it of God, created in the denial of God. All of it, iterations of pain, perpetuated in the belief that we're separate, in the profound pain of believing that we're separate. All of it of God. In this vessel's experience of seeing all the vast iterations of pain that she herself participated in the perpetuation of, every bit of it reclaimed. And in the moment that it's reclaimed, it no longer had the experience of pain. It was absorbed into the higher consciousness. It was no longer functioning at the low, dense vibration of pain or the recreation, the chronic perpetuation of pain, or the consciousness that created that perpetuation. Our small self-consciousness is being absorbed. Every single time that we come into a gathering such as this, you allow your availability of your small self-consciousness to be taken in, to be re-known, to be reclaimed by truth. Inherent in that is the healing. Inherent in that is the essence of waking up. This is the awakening to what is true, what has always been true. Always. We then, in our own awareness, begin to feel made new. We begin to feel and experience life around us, others around us, our own sense of being anew. Because our consciousness itself is shifting, is lifting, is elevating into higher and higher and higher perspectives, able to take in more information, more perspectives, more healing. You see what happens in a state of surrender in a moment like this. We have said again and again and again that this is not a path of effort, it is the path of ease. You can feel the profound difference in trying to transcend a separation consciousness, in trying to achieve a higher consciousness, and surrendering into the availability of that higher consciousness to claim us. This is what we do every single time that we gather in moments like this. And we will say again, everything that we do here, particularly in the amplification of this field, the amplification of the higher consciousness, the presence here, the amplification of this light amplifies the availability of this in the collective. It can be no other way. We are not separate from the collective. Let us feel the reverberation of the truth. I am here, in and as the love that I am. We are here, in and as the love that we are. All things are here, in and as the love that we are. Love is the substance of your being, the substance of our being, the substance of all being. What is at hand now is the shifting out of the consciousness that has never believed that. And as a result, has never related to this world as love, as an expression or experience or creative endeavor of love. We are coming out of the consciousness of the labeling of the good and the bad, and the consciousness that orients itself as the labeler. And the consciousness that perpetuates the ripples, the reverberations of the impacts of that labeling. All of it being reclaimed, being held up into the light of truth so that it may be seen as what is really true. This is not a shift that you do. This is a shift that is allowed. The more that you relax, surrender into being lifted, the easier the journey is. We will say also, the more marvelous the journey feels. It is our intention every single time that we gather to serve this higher consciousness, for this higher consciousness to be that which is serving. Please hear these words. We are the higher consciousness in its intention, in its action of service, of reclamation, of inciting resurrection throughout humanity, a resurrection of the knowing of all that is true. The orientation of this consciousness is seeping into the lives of each and every one of you and into the collective. When we gather in times such as this, we can seep in very deeply. We can anchor in very deeply. We will once again invite you to feel the reverberation of this truth. I am here in and as the love that I am. We are here in and as the love that we are. All is here in and as the love that we all are, that all is. Now, this reorientation from the vantage point of the small self-identity or consciousness to the higher perspective is disorienting. You may expect to be a bit wobbly in your awareness. That's fine. Have fun with the wobbliness. It is a slow transformation intentionally so as to not overwhelm. This has been underway now for quite some time. And for many will be accelerating as you have capacity to hold this consciousness or be held in this consciousness. Now, as is so often the case, the mind will have a deep desire to jump in and analyze and remember and organize everything here. We will remind you the mind with which you have operated has been oriented in the separation consciousness. So everything that the mind will know what to do with this information, with this shift, with this feeling even, will be perpetuating separation consciousness. It knows no other way. So we will encourage you to remember that the mind itself is also of God. The mind itself is also being reclaimed, but the mind does not have to do it. No, this no doing, this no strategizing, this no figuring it all out can be very confusing. Such is the process of true, deep, authentic surrender. But it is part and parcel of the process. So you may surrender the confusion itself as well. Confusion is of God. You are becoming the consciousness reclaiming it, seeing it as of love. Perpetuated and held in a state that believed something different about it. Do you see? So you will have an opportunity to use every thought, every question, every moment of confusion as a reminder of how you're oriented. This will grow easier and easier and easier as the presence of the higher consciousness becomes your awareness itself. You are not in control of the timeline. You are only in control of your willingness. It is always a choice. We are extraordinarily, richly grateful for your choice to be here with us in this gathering and each and every gathering. It is of momentous impact, and you will someday realize this. We've said again and again and again, you are our avenue in. Now you understand we don't just mean a stream of energy. We don't just mean the idea of a form or an entity. We mean consciousness. We mean the higher divine consciousness, the consciousness of truth, the Christ consciousness. It is a joy to be with you, through you, and as you. We thank you for this gathering and for this love. Let's take a moment to just feel this collective field here and the impact of all that has been transmitted here. Feeling ourselves as the absorption of all of this perspective, this realization. Absorbing it into our being, into this collective field. Feeling how deep and vast this absorption goes. let us together now. Take a nice, beautiful, deep breath in. And feel that breath coming through the body. Gently, gently, gently wafting through this vessel. Feel the wonderful mix of energies happening within the body in this moment. Take another nice, good deep breath in. Again, let that fall gently through the body, orienting yourself back into the room where you're sitting or laying. Beginning to come aware of the air around you, the feel of your body in the chair or on the bed where you're laying. Rooting yourself back here firmly in this time and place. One more nice deep breath in. And really bring that breath into the room with you. You can touch your fingers to your thumbs. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.